When you look at the incident statistics that still indicate that confined space accidents are causing lives to be lost and workers to be threatened in the workplace anytime they're working in or around confined spaces, the statistics today over the last 5 to 10 years have indicated that an average of about 92 workers are still losing their lives in confined spaces. The number of incidents still demonstrate that there are instances where workers' lives are threatened. And even though there is a federal OSHA regulation since 1993 addressing general industry entry and work in confined spaces, the fact that nearly 20 years later we're still losing over 90 lives a year to confined space incidents indicates that the job isn't done yet, and there are still things that can be done. And so with respect to NFPA's involvement in codes and standards development following the 1993 issuance of the OSHA standard, NFPA also got involved in looking at the aspects of rescue, because one of the significant statistical notes is that a lot of the confined spaces involve multiple fatalities, because not only do you have the initial worker go into the confined spaces and then have a problem inside the confined space due to the atmosphere or slipping and falling or something like that, but also you have then would-be rescuers. Usually they're colleagues who are not trained as rescuers who attempt to go in and rescue and then become additional victims. So confined space rescue is an important element, and so following the 1993 edition of the OSHA regulation, NFPA created a technical rescue committee that has a significant component dealing with confined space rescue. So when we look at the fact that today the statistics still indicate that over 90 people are losing their lives in confined spaces, it indicates that there is still more work to be done, and the NFPA committee that's been created is going to focus on what is currently present within the OSHA regulations and some other consensus standards, whether NFPA consensus standards or other industry groups that have developed consensus standards unique to their industries and their types of confined spaces, and identify what gaps are present. The types of gaps that we've focused on so far is that in developing the basis for requesting this committee to be created is in the area of atmospheric monitoring. Secondly is proper ventilation techniques, what works best in terms of doing mechanical ventilation in the confined spaces to control the atmospheric hazards. And then also with respect to rescue, taking advantage of our connection with the emergency responders through the fire service and other emergency response groups, and enhancing the safe work practices with respect to rescue. The committee has been formed, and we expect that during this calendar year we will get them up and running and focusing on the issues that we believe are these gaps in terms of taking the requirements that are in the OSHA regulations and these other standards and turning them from a what you have to do into something that is more like a how do you do this. And so we're looking at focusing on safe work practices that can be used by all the different industry sectors. The other aspect of this project, we think, will be that confined spaces are by their very nature dangerous by design, and we think that the committee can also focus on maybe targeting some improvements from a life safety perspective in these various types of confined spaces that are present throughout all different types of industries. They are storage tanks, they are grain silos, they are bins, they are process vessels, they are utility vaults, they are tunnels where pipelines run through, and so they come in all different shapes and sizes, and we think that this committee can focus on maybe giving some guidance with respect to how to design them in the future so they are not as dangerous. So maybe they have more openings or larger openings, and it makes it easier to get in and out. Makes it maybe by designing them so that you can ventilate them more easily and test them more easily. So we think that the committee has an opportunity here to address the gaps, but also to look more forward in terms of how to guide the people that are going in and out of these spaces so that they know how to do that more effectively and more safely.